What's going on, guys? Bart here with Tully Television, and today we're going to be getting into a movie review. The movies. But before we get into all that, I want to thank you for stopping by, liking, commenting, sharing all that beautiful YouTube stuff. I appreciate each and every one of you. The march to 300 subscribers is still going on. We're currently at 214, 215. Once we hit those 300 subscriber goal, I'm going to be doing a little comic book grab bag giveaway to celebrate the milestone to a random subscriber. But without further ado, let's get into the movie review today. We're going to be going over Blackburn that came out in 2019, directed by David Yarovitsky, writers are Brian and James Gunn. The cast is Elizabeth Banks as Tori Breyer, David Denham as Kyle Breyer, Jackson Dunn as Brandon Breyer, Emmy Hunter as Caitlin, Meredith Hanger as Marilee McNichol, Elizabeth Banks' sister. Matt Jones plays Noah McNichol, the brother-in-law to the sister, obviously, and a couple other side characters. Now, this movie basically is what you would envision for a what if Superman was evil. Okay, the movie starts off with a small town family, like Earth, salt of the earth people, the Breyer couple here. The husband's a farmer, and relies on the property to feed his family. They are trying to create life, and then on this one night there was a meteor shower and crashing on their site. When they went to go check it, they realized that there was a baby inside that they decided to keep, much like the Kents did with Kal-El when he came to Earth from Krypton. But there is no real explanation on where he came from, what world he came from, or anything like that, this little baby. And they decided to name him Brian. We're going to fast forward about 12 years later. His birthday is coming up. And we can all remember when we were hitting 11, 12, 13 years old, how awkward we became. We started discovering certain things about ourselves, about others around us. And difficult enough as it is for a human, forget about someone who looks like a human, sounds like a human, but isn't human. There's probably no real... He's always going to feel like an outsider, and this is a great way to even have a retrospective look at the character of Kal-El. An immigrant onto the planet, not just from one country to another, one-of-a-kind being that is living on Earth. No one else knows that except his parents. And it's, he has a typical 12-year-old life, man. He's getting older. He seems to have an interest in this girl in class. He deals with a jokester bully that likes to, bust his chops or whatever. Standard 12-year-old boy stuff, you know what I mean? And one night hears voices in his head. He sleepwalks to the barn and is trying to get access to the shuttle that got him here. But he's not realizing that's what he's doing. It's locked away. and the mother finds him doing this. She didn't tell the father offhand, which was a bad idea. There's a lot of red flags that start showing up about their son. They find his reading material for when he's alone and spanking the monkey. And at one point, some of the pictures are like anatomy pictures, diagrams, medical pictures of the insides of women and everything. Like really getting up in there in the intestines and stuff. And the mother asked the father, she was like, is this what you guys are into? And he's like, no, this isn't. This is out of the ordinary. Usually, might have a DVD, a copy of Jugs. You know what I mean? Old copy of Playboy, is lingering somewhere around. You know what I mean? Like, no anatomy pictures or anything like that. It's a red flag. But the mother doesn't seem to really want to notice these red flags. So the father kind of had an awkward talk with him during a hunting trip about pleasing yourself. And he didn't really do a good job, I guess, because the kid winds up finding himself in Caitlin's room behind her curtain, basically, touching himself. And she calls her mother in, but there's no one there. They can't prove that he was there, but they know he was there. And the next day at school, or a couple days after that at school, they're doing this game where it's a trust fall thing. And she's still freaked out, and she lets him fall. And in a fit of anger, he crushes her arm. And he doesn't even get suspended or anything like that, because I guess it's his first time exhibiting these behaviors. He came to apologize to Caitlin not too long after that in her room. And this is when he discovers that he is not of this planet. His parents tell him this in hopes to rein him in and listen to their advice. But he tells her, I found out I'm special today, and everyone else is soon going to find out how special I really am. And he basically saying, no matter what you do, you're going to be mine, type of thing. And tells her he's going to off her mother, who works at this local diner. And he goes, and that's exactly what he does. He corners her and then just does her in, right? But the next day, no one can find her body or anything like that, so they're curious about what's happening with that. Because of the hand incident at school, the school counselor, who happens to be his aunt, the sister of his mother, tells him, because I'm your family, I get it that you think I'm going to take it easy on you, but I have to, do my job and be honest, and you have to kind of show me that you're having a little bit of remorse here. And he's not showing any type of remorse, heartfelt sorrows, nothing. So he intended to go to the aunt's house, which he did go to the aunt's house, to offer. But at the same time, the husband, his uncle, Noah, came home drunk and stuff and found him in the closet being weird, right? And I was going to bring him home to the parents, but Noah soon finds out that Brian here is not of this world. He causes the uncle to have a car accident, and there's this really one gruesome scene where the jaw just... It's a gruesome... Some of the scenes are pretty gruesome. And yeah, so he kills the uncle to hide his secret. At this point, the father's really like, he's never bled, he's never gotten sick, never broken a bone, not even had a bruise. He's not like us, at all. And the mother's still trying to overlook a lot of these things. The sheriff notices the same symbol that was drawn at the restaurant, crime scene, and then at the car crash that the uncle had. So now the sheriff is starting to kind of put two and two together. To him, he's thinking that looks like two bees, the symbol, Briar. So he goes to the mother to see what's going on with that. She, again, is still trying to ignore this thing until she comes across some stuff in his room where she notices the symbol, tries to call the father to confirm that he was right. But what was going on at this time was the father and the son were on a hunting trip. The father was going to take things into his own hands and take the son out because he felt like at this point he was too much of a risk and danger to other people around him. And with the powers that he has, he couldn't let his son continue to roam the planet free, hurting people intentionally. Like he's getting joy, the son is getting joy out of hurting people, out of being a nuisance, and the father feels like it's his response. If anyone's going to take out my son for being a monster, I'd rather it be me as a father. That's the logic. And I kind of get it, you know what I mean? I wouldn't want, someone's hands taken away my son if it wasn't my own hands or my wife's hands. But it's a hard thing to do. Like the mother was totally the other side of it. Like, oh, this is my son, and I don't care what he does. You know what I mean? He can blow up the world, and I don't care. Like, don't care. But some parents, no matter what their kid does, they don't have it in their heart to disavow them or shame them, and that's kind of how you get in that position in the first place. A little bit, because you didn't really stand up and let your kid know once in a while, like, hey, I love you, but you're being a jerk, man. You need to stop. But I mean, then again, these parents did a really good job, man. It wasn't much that this kid wanted, and that he didn't get. You know what I mean? He lived in a nice house. His parents were nice. They were pillars of the community. Once that ship became inactivated, it changed something within his physiology, his DNA, and it didn't really matter what was taught to him. He was going to town on this planet, and everyone that gets in his way. He takes the father out in a pretty crazy way. He laser beams his father right through the head, and he finally comes home to the mother. The mother's trying to talk some sense into him and realizes that or remembers that the only thing that can hurt him is this ship that's in the barn, because when he finally did discover the ship in the barn and he went to go touch it, it was the only substance on the planet that's ever cut him. And so she realizes she needs a shard of this metal to take out her son, but he winds up carrying her up to the sky, and she basically tells him he needs to stop this before it's too late, to not do what he's going to do. And he drops her, thus completing his turn to a complete monster. And then he sees a plane coming and uses that plane to crash into his parents' home to make it look like a natural disaster type of accident, so it would cover up his initial crimes of killing his parents and the sheriff that came to help. And then basically that he's the only survivor out of that whole accident, right? No one is knowing what he really did. And then they show clips here and there through the end credits of him in his Brightburn costume, committing crimes, destroying crops and stuff like that. And then at the very end of that, the actor Michael Rooker has a little cameo scene in which he talks about all these other types of beings that have been sighted. Because the initial plan for this movie was kind of make an evil Justice League type of universe. And I hope that they can continue that story one day. In this general sense of the movie, I would definitely give this movie a 7 out of 10. I thought a lot of the action scenes were pretty cool. The way they did a lot of it, you know what I mean? It looked visually great. There was a couple of things where I felt like there was a few differences in tones throughout the movie. Like, sometimes it felt like a horror movie. Sometimes it felt like a superhero movie. And, I mean, I guess it's both a superhero, supervillain horror movie, I guess. Yeah, but it was a good movie. It was a good movie. I was been really wanting to catch this for a long time, and I am glad I did. I really am not sure what the likelihood of a sequel is, being now that James Gunn is kind of leading the DC universe, and all those movies coming out soon. So I'm really not sure when we will ever get, if ever, a Brightburn sequel or a Brightburn cinematic universe. But if we were to give any other franchises a chance, I'd like to see this get a chance, you know? I mean, how many Fast and the Furiouses can you do? How many of this type of movie, that type of movie? I don't know, man. Be nice to get a little change once in a while. Give some new characters a go. But either way, go check out the movie. I believe you'll enjoy it. It's basically a big what if Superman goes bad. Not as good as Red Son or some of those other Injustice stories, what have you, but definitely a unique concept to the degree of a unique character that's not established, and we're seeing the origins of him becoming a villain. That's my views of Brightburn. You let me know down below. And until next time, peace, Nookums.